Let us begin today's program with a few prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We dedicate today's session to our beloved spiritual master, His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. So today is the 15th session of the Knowledge Ikosagan series. This series is based on the 20 items of knowledge that Lord Krishna talks about in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And today's topic is equanimity. So let's try to understand, explore more about what is meant by equanimity, how we can achieve equanimity. Let's begin. The Sanskrit word used for equanimity is samachittatvam, that is even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events. So this world is a world of duality. There will be some pleasant circumstances, there will be some unpleasant circumstances in our life. Now the Bhagavad Gita says that a person in knowledge practices even-mindedness in both circumstances, pleasant and unpleasant. Srila Prabhupada writes in one of the purports in Bhagavad Gita, Samatha or equanimity refers to freedom from attachment and aversion. To be very much attached or to be very much detached is not the best. This material world should be accepted without attachment or aversion. That which is favorable for prosecuting Krishna consciousness should be accepted. That which is unfavorable should be rejected. That is called samatha or equanimity. Now, very nicely, Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. Freedom from attachment and aversion is called samatha or samachittatvam, equanimity. In this world, there are broadly three categories of people. The first category of people, they fall in love with this world, and that's called romanticization approach. They become attached to everything in this world. So as a result, when such people experience pleasant experiences in life, they come across palatable events happening in their life or good comments they hear from others, such people become very elated. And they expect this world should always deliver good things to them. They talk about positive thinking. They say this world is a great place to live. So they fall in love with this world. They romanticize with this world. That is the major chunk of people in this world. They come into this category. Now there is another category which we can say they are like the other extreme. These people, they are somehow frustrated with the negativities of life and they are averse to this world. They say this world is not a good place to live in. This world is just, bad. They only talk about negativities of life. and their approach is called demonization approach. They demonize everything in this world. So on one extreme, you see people who have fallen in love with this world, that is, they romanticize with this world. On the other extreme, we see people who are demonizing this world. Of course, this demonizing approach, people are very, very less, significantly very less. So, most of the people are in love with this world, romanticization. The demonization is the other extreme. But what the Bhagavad Gita is saying is both these approaches are not at all good, especially for a person who wants to make progress in self-realization. Such a person must take the middle path. He must neither fall in love with this world, following the romanticization approach, nor should he become averse to this world, following the demonization approach. But one must have samachittatvam. One must be practicing equanimity, right? Equanimity. That's very important. Now, what is that? Here, in this situation, while in the situation, when is a person said to be equanimous? He is in the middle, right? When life delivers good things, he doesn't become elated. When life delivers bad things, such a person doesn't become upset. He understands that this world is a world of duality. There will be happiness, there will be distress. He understands it. But these happiness and distress are momentary. But I should not get stuck with these happy or sad events in life, because my goal of life is not to actually expect good things in this world. My goal is to attain the perfection of human life, which is self-realization. So because the goal is very clear, such a person neither becomes attached to this world nor becomes detached. So this is called samachittatvam, being equanimous, even-minded, right? So what is this approach also called? This approach is called utilization approach. What is favorable for my spiritual life, I will accept those things, and what is not favorable, I will reject those things. This is called equanimity, or the utilization approach. So three approaches we talked about. One is romanticization, becoming attached to this world. The other extreme is demonization, becoming fully detached from this world. But Bhagavad Gita says you take the middle path, that is utilization approach. What is favorable for you, for your spiritual life, you accept those things, and what is not favorable, you reject those things. Now, this is the way we can live a peaceful life, being focused on the goal of self-realization. So that is equanimity or samachittatvam. Let's move forward. Let's try to understand more about this with the help of a story. Sometimes what happens is, in our life, as I said, we come across good things, we come across bad things. When we come across good things, we become very elated. And when we come across bad things, we become very depressed. But this story, it's a Chinese story. Maybe so, maybe not. It is very instructive. So once there was a farmer. This farmer had one piece of land. He was cultivating in that land. He had a son with whom he would live, a small family, and he was very satisfied, happy doing his job of farming and selling the produce in the market, and that's how he was able to manage himself and his family. One day, what happened was, he had a pair of oxen to plow his land. So what happened all of a sudden? His oxen, both the oxes, they fell ill, they fell sick, and they died. Now this farmer was so depressed. He went to a, nearby in his village there was a wise man. He went and shared this information with him, saying that my only source of income on which I was depending so much, my oxen have died. This is the worst thing that has happened to me in my life. This is the worst thing, he said. The wise man smiled and said, maybe so, maybe not. So the farmer couldn't understand. What is this? I said, this is the worst thing. I'm so depressed. My oxen have died. And he's saying, maybe so, maybe not. But he was puzzled. Anyway, he came back. After a few days, he found a well built, strong horse in his land one morning. And he tried to find out who is the owner of the horse, but he couldn't figure out. Then he thought, oh, it's a very nice thing. Few days ago, my oxen have died, but now I found this horse. So I can use this horse to plow my land. That'll be a very nice thing. So he became elated. He became overjoyed. And he said, this is the best thing that has happened in my life. Best thing has happened in my life. So again he went to the wise man and said, oh, my dear wise man, that day you told, when I said my oxen have passed away, I said it is the worst thing that has happened in my life. You smiled and said, maybe so, maybe not. That day I did not understand. Now I understood actually. It's good that the oxen passed away. Now I got a strong horse. This is the best thing that has happened in my life. And again, the wise man smiled and said, maybe so, maybe not. So again, this farmer was puzzled. Every time he says same thing, maybe so, maybe not. Anyway, he couldn't understand. He came back. He was very happy. He was using his horse, this newfound horse, to plow his land. And one day, his son, he was trying to ride the horse. And since the horse was untrained, untamed horse, so the son of the farmer, while he was trying to ride the horse, he fell down. He slipped and fell down from the horse, and he broke his leg. And again, the farmer was so disturbed. My only son, he has broken his leg. This is the worst thing that has happened in my life. And when he said this to the wise man again said, maybe so, maybe not. So this farmer was very angry this time. Every time I tell my story, this wise man is simply smiling and saying, maybe so, maybe not. This man has become mad. He has only one response to give every time I meet him. So next time I would not go to this person, he decided. So after a few days, there was a war declared. The neighboring king, he attacked this kingdom, and therefore the king, issued an order that every young man has to compulsorily join the army. So the king's men went door to door, and they forcibly took the young men and recruited them into the king's army. But one person was saved, or one person was not selected for the army. Guess who? Yeah, the king's son. Because the king's son had broken his leg. So he couldn't fight the war in that condition. So, except for the king's son, all the young men got into the army. There was no guarantee that they'll come back alive from the battlefield. Now again, this farmer was very happy. My only son got saved from going to the battlefield and getting killed there. This is the best thing that has happened in my life. So the point, that is a story. Now what is the interesting thing in this story is, anything that happens in our life, based on our limited understanding, we say this is the best thing that has happened, or sometimes we say it is the worst thing that has happened in my life. just like the farmer. But actually, like the wise man who was above these dualities, he always kept saying, maybe so, maybe not. Maybe this is the best thing, or maybe not. It is not the best thing. The point is, it is all based on our limited understanding. Just like in this case, ultimately, the son getting injured or breaking his leg actually was in his favor. Otherwise, he would have gone to the battlefield and he might have got killed also. So the point is, with our limited understanding, we should not judge things, what is happening in our life. Huh? So we must actually become free from these dualities. What we feel is the best thing may not be actually the best thing. So this is one important thing. This is in line with what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Samachittatvam. Don't worry. So-called good things, so-called bad things happening in your life, don't worry. Life has many more important things you must be worried about. You must be worried about spiritual achievement in life. So that is what this story is highlighting. Let's move forward. In fact, this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said once. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Dvaite bhadra bhadra jnana saba manodharma ye bhala ye manda ye saba brahma. This is in Bengali from Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, in the material world, conceptions of good and bad are all mental speculations. Therefore, saying this is good and this is bad is all a mistake, Brahma. It is only a mental concoction. So, a person who is on the path of spiritual realization, he doesn't get stuck with so-called good events and so-called bad events which happen in his life. Because he knows that this material world is like that. It is a world of duality. You will always go through cycles of good, so-called good things and so-called bad things. But my goal is not to get connected or not to get settled in this material world. My goal is to transcend the material world. Therefore, I should not get disturbed. And in fact, what is the root cause of this? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pointing out here, it is all mental speculation, our mental speculation. We have some limited understanding about what is good, what is bad, and based on that, we assess things. Oh, this is good, this is bad, this is not nice, this is very nice, this is a worst thing, this is a best thing. We have to actually come out of this. Otherwise, we become very much vulnerable to anything and everything that happens in our life. We get disturbed. We get disturbed. And it is not good for a person who is practicing or who is aiming to make spiritual advancement to get disturbed for anything and everything that happens in life. Just like I remember in biology, we studied a topic called homeostasis, if you have heard about it. Homeostasis means it's a ability of the human body or any body, plant body, animal body, to maintain equilibrium, to maintain a proper healthy condition in spite of the external changing circumstances. See, externally, there is sometimes there is summer, there is winter, there is rain, heat, cold, all of these things. But the human body has this inbuilt ability to maintain static or to remain unchanged, immaterial of external conditions. Now we talk about cold-blooded animals and warm-blooded animals. Like fishes are called cold-blooded animals. Why they are called cold-blooded? Because their body temperature fluctuates according to the external temperature. Whereas human beings, we are called warm-blooded animals because our body has the ability to maintain a constant temperature, body temperature, in spite of external changing weather conditions. Now, in the same way, a aspiring spiritualist must maintain this equanimity, immaterial of external things which are happening, good, bad, nice, not nice. Internally, we should maintain a equanimous mindset. That is what the Bhagavad Gita is talking about, and that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. Don't fall into this trap of labeling something to be good and something to be bad. It is simply a mental concoction. It will simply suck your energy and it will not help you in any way. So don't worry about what's happening in your life. I mean, don't worry about the events, oh, good, bad. Don't worry about these things. As we saw in the previous thing, what Srila Prabhupada said, we have to have a utilitarian approach. Oh, if this situation is good for me from my spiritual advancement point of view, okay, then it is good. Then I will accept it. If something is good for my spiritual life, I will accept it. Something is not good, I'll just reject it and move on. This should be our approach. Let's move forward. So, yes, we must have trust in Krishna's plans. Whatever happens to me, and it is sanctioned by the Lord, and if it is sanctioned by the Lord, then it must have some purpose. Now, for this, the best example is the Pandavas. The Pandavas, they went through so many difficult situations in their life, isn't it? They, Kunti Maharani, in one of her prayers, recalls these things. Vishan Mahagne Purushada Darshanat Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichrataha Mrude Mrude Neka Maharatastrato Draunyastrachasma Harebhi Rakshitaha. So, what all difficulties the Pandavas went through, and even Bhishma Deva, while lying on the bed of arrows, while counting his last moments, he recalls these difficult situations that the Pandavas went through. First of all, Pandavas, Bhima was administered poison when he was young by Shakuni and Duryodhana, isn't it? Then they had to pass through this, they were tried to be burnt alive in the house of lac. Vishan, first is Vishan, poison, then Mahagni, they had to go through that difficult situation of, they escaped that, being burnt alive in the house of shellac by Vidura's help. They were able to come out of it. Then Vishan Mahagne Purushada Darshanat. So they were even attacked by cannibal demon Bakasura. So Bakasura tried to fight with Bhima and others and kill them in the forest. And of course, Bhima, Hidimbasura and Bakasura, such cannibals, Bhima fought against them. And Vishan Mahagne Purushada Darshanat Asat Sabhaya. Then finally, this Draupadi was tried to be disrobed by the Kauravas in front of the entire assembly. And then Vanavasa Krichrataha. After that, they were tricked in the game of die, and they were sent into the forest for exile, Vanavasa. And then after they came back from the exile, were they given the kingdom back? No. Then they had to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. And on the battle of Kurukshetra, there were so many Maharathis, great warriors, whom they had to fight against. So just see how so many difficulties the Pandavas had to go through. And even after the battle of Kurukshetra was over, Ashwathama wanted to kill the only descendant of the Pandavas, that is Parikshit Maharaj, while he was in the womb of his mother. So he released his Brahmastra. So one after the other, they had to go through so many difficulties in life. But one thing that kept them going was they had faith in Krishna's protection. Every incident they would depend on Krishna, and Krishna was right there to give them protection in one or the other way, either by himself directly or through his devotees, through his agents. Krishna would make sure that the Pandavas were always safe. So this is very important. The Pandavas, and especially Kunti Maharani, the mother of the Pandavas, she also had to go through a lot of difficulties. She became a widow in a very early age, and then she herself had to bring up all the children So it was not an easy thing, but they actually were equanimous. They followed the path of dharma always, and they depended on the Lord. And the reward is what? The Lord Himself protected them always. The Lord Himself assumed the roles like their messenger, their chariot driver, you know. So Krishna was practically doing everything and anything for the sake of the Pandavas, because the Pandavas were such great souls. They practiced equanimity. So Krishna personally gave them protection. So what we should learn from this is, don't become disturbed when things don't go well in your life. Have faith in the Lord. Lord has a bigger plan. So finally the Lord made the Pandavas an instrument in his hands to establish dharma. And finally the Lord made sure that the Pandavas were the rulers of the earth. Isn't it? So sometimes going through difficulties, Krishna wants to teach us something. Krishna has a bigger plan for us. So this is how a devotee of the Lord can practice equanimity. How to practice equanimity? Learn from the Pandavas. Don't become disturbed. Have faith in the Lord. Go on with our practicing our Krishna consciousness, and the Lord will surely help us. So having faith in the Lord, having trust in His plans, is the easiest, surest way to practice equanimity, to not get disturbed in any situation. So that is what we learn from the Pandavas. Let's move forward. So Prabhupada says in 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, one of the purports, equanimity of mind is the sign of self-realization. Those who have actually attained to such a stage should be considered to have conquered material conditions, specifically birth and death. As long as one identifies with this body, he is considered a conditioned soul. But as soon as he is elevated to the stage of equanimity through realization of self, he is liberated from conditional life. So, equanimity of mind, as Prabhupada says, is a sign of self-realized person. And we are on the path of self-realization. So, to cultivate this equanimity of mind, we have to always lead our life according to the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. Whenever we have difficulties, consult with a devotee, share your feelings, what you're going through, share it with a devotee, and I'm sure you'll feel a great amount of solace, even amidst difficult circumstances. In fact, Gandhi ji also says the same thing. Whenever he would see some difficult situations in his life, he would always turn to the Bhagavad Gita, and immediately he would find a verse to comfort him, that would comfort him, and he would start smiling amidst overwhelming circumstances. This is the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the power of the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So, no matter what it is, what situation we are in, if we consult the Gita, consult the Bhagavad Gita, it can actually help us smile even amidst difficult circumstances. So, to practice equanimity, we saw through the life of the Pandavas, and we have to have faith in the Lord. To develop faith in the Lord, study the Bhagavad Gita, understand the Lord's instructions, and also taking personal association of devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness can also help us to get spiritual insights into our life situation. Then we can remain undisturbed in any circumstance. So, to recap what we have discussed today, first thing is, this dualities of life are a fact, and we should not get disturbed. Labeling some incidents to be good, some incidents to be bad, it is only because of our mental concoction, and we have to become free from this mental concoction. For that, we need spiritual knowledge, and consulting the Bhagavad Gita, taking association of devotees, can help us to become free from mental concoction and to always get the spiritual perspective of things happening in our life. And important lesson to learn from the Pandavas: trust in the Lord's plan, and the Lord is never going to uh, give up on his devotees. So anybody who becomes very dependent on the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, the Lord will surely give protection to such devotees. So that is the way we can practice samachittatvam, or equanimity of mind. So now I hope, yes, now we will be chanting the Hare Krishna mantra for 10 times. Okay. After that, we'll have time for Q&A. If you have questions based on what we discussed, we will have some time for that. So now we will chant 10 times Hare Krishna mantra. Before that, once we'll chant the Panchatattva mantra. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. So chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the easiest process to attain self-realization, to become free from mental speculation, and thus we can achieve this equanimity, samachittatvam, very easily in this age of Kali by practicing the chanting of Hare Krishna Mantra. So please do not miss chanting Hare Krishna Mantra any day. Every day, please chant. Now, any questions anybody has, you can unmute yourselves and you can ask your question. Yes, Amrit, you wanted to say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
My question is regarding Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was exhibiting both ecstasy as well as disappointment, lamentation for Krishna.
Yeah.
So in that context, equanimity is not applicable. Right?
Okay. Nice question. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would exhibit his ecstasy in, and he was also lamenting for Krishna, for Krishna's absence. So how can we say it is? How can we say it is equanimity? Yes, very interesting question. But we must know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was displaying all these symptoms of ecstasy for Krishna, in the mood of separation from Krishna, not for any material circumstances. So, in fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he displayed all these ecstatic symptoms because he's an advanced devotee. Only an advanced devotee can genuinely have such loving ecstatic symptoms towards Krishna. But what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the same time, as we saw in today's session, at the same time, he has advised us that do not get disturbed by material circumstance. So spiritually, he is separating from, he is in the mood of separation from Krishna. Therefore, sometimes he is crying, sometimes he is dancing out of ecstasy. But these are all not to be imitated by us. We should know that, because it is an advanced situation in spiritual life. But material situations will come and go. They are not permanent. Therefore, we must not get disturbed. We must learn to tolerate them, knowing very well that we are in a world of duality. So there is a difference. Material situation and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual situation, both are entirely different. I hope that answers your question, Amrit.
It's true. Thank you.
So with this, we come to the end of today's session. Thank you all for investing your valuable time and being part of this session. We shall meet again in the next session. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare